Okay, today's day 8, and this morning it seems that my scale kind of perked up and came back to its old self, and I was 127, so I like gained 3 pounds in a day. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm not concerned about it. It's just the natural kind of vagaries of retention and elimination and ingestion and all those kind of good processes. So anyway, I'm on the right track. But I do try to quantify because I believe that it's all about quantifying. It's almost like you can do anything if you quantify and pay attention and stick to the program. Anyway, I started the morning with pancakes, but it seems that my non-stick griddle or pan starting to fail, the one I got at the thrift store. And so or maybe the pancake batter had like not enough banana in it or something, or not enough oats, but it stuck to the pan. And I got it kind of, turned it over and mushed it up, and I got like a pancake and a half, like sorta, with some apple juice. And then I went to meditate. I was kind of in a hurry, Then I went to meditate. I came home and I had another pancake. I tried to fix up the pancake batter. I added more oats. I added flax egg, I think, and it was a little better. It's like a crepe Suzette, but then I turned it over and it kind of folded on itself. So anyway, I had a lot of problems with the pancakes, but I like a pancake in the morning. So then I had some cantaloupe and some green tea later. I got a little hungry. I said, well, have some cantaloupe, my fresh garden cantaloupe. And then as the day went on, around lunchtime, I made a nice Mexican mashup. I had a lot of ingredients in the refrigerator: beans, rice, corn, tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, green pepper, onions, salsa. And that was really good. That's always a really good lunch. And in the morning, I did my yoga. I did about 17 minutes of yoga. It was a little slow for me, so I kind of cut the YouTube program and I just started doing my own stretches. But it gets me started, gets me on the mat, gets me started. And if she's just not kind of in the swing of things according to my taste, I just like to start doing a yoga routine. But if I just do my own yoga, it gets a little boring, so it's nice to have somebody kind of showing you some different poses, different attitudes. And then I did Roberta's stomach for 32 minutes, but there's a lot of resting in it. So I think you rest for almost as much as you exercise. Is that true? Not quite. It's probably more like 20 minutes of exercise, but I did it. And I was really happy that I followed through, because it's really, with the yoga and the exercise, it was only like 32 and 10, 42 and 7, 49. It's only 50 minutes, right? 50 is under an hour. It's not too much time. It just seems like a lot of time. So I took that time and I did that. And that was good. And what did I do? Oh yeah, and then this afternoon I went down to the garden and I harvested vegetables and checked the garden. And the main thing is to get stuff as it's ripening so that it doesn't waste. And I started out, I did a survey of the garden. I also watered the new fruit trees that my brother gave Gary and I for my wedding, the plums. They're getting a little dry. It's very dry here. We need rain. We need a lot of rain. It's a little dry. But then I went up to his salsa garden and I went underneath and got all the red tomatoes. And now I have one of those big white painter's buckets full of tomatoes that I'm going to make like some marinara sauce. I'm just going to stew some tomatoes. And that's tomorrow. The next day, probably it'll be for the next 4 days, I'll be doing all these processes. Because it takes a while. I have to boil the jars. Anybody who's done canning knows there's a lot of steps to it. And but I got, like a big thing of tomatoes, and there's going to be lots more. And I checked the cherry tomatoes. I forgot to pick any of the cherry tomatoes, but I still have a whole mess of them. I have to give some away. And I think most of them will be okay till I get down there on Friday, day after tomorrow. And I had a lot of green peppers. I got like 4 or 5 beautiful, fresh, ripe green peppers. Some of them were pretty big. Other ones were like medium sized, but they just smelled so good. I had some green beans on the bush. You know, I made sure to look under and sure enough, I had a good handful of green beans. I cut some kale for my friends, you know, because they like fresh bunch of kale. And I checked out, I have a couple of watermelons. A raccoon or a fox or something ate a watermelon, not a watermelon, a regular melon. And they've eaten 3 so far. Oh well. And then there's a big cabbage. I want to start making sauerkraut tomorrow. And I asked Gary. Gary was in the garden with me. I said, Gary, would you cut, do you think that cabbage is ripe? He said, yeah, it's ready to go. I said, would you cut it? So I got his knife out and he was lifting up the leaves. And then we heard this like, eep, 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 eep. And then we were just looking at each other because we didn't see anything. We thought, is the cabbage making noise? But it sounded like a bird or a little small animal. And Gary looked under the leaves. He said, oh, it's a little rabbit. And Gary is not a friend of critters always, but he likes rabbits. So it's like, yeah. So we have a rabbit, little baby. She said the little rabbit's nest is there. So we have rabbits in Mrs. McGregor's garden, and I'm so glad he let the rabbit be. So glad. And so I have a nice, beautiful green cabbage I'm going to make sauerkraut out of. I hope to make sauerkraut out of. And, you know, there were other items. Butternut squash is doing, not butternut, acorn squash is doing fine. I cut some broccoli that was really good. In fact, I had a little broccoli with my dinner tonight. And the cauliflower's coming up. We also have Brussels sprouts, but Gary says to leave them till like the fall. And they don't look ready to be picked. But the cauliflower, keep my eye on that because it might, I'm not sure when to pick it. Like I think it's going to get bigger, but I just want to keep my eye on it so it doesn't start getting brown before, you know, I'm ready to pick it. Because it might just be a small head of cauliflower. Cauliflower, I have tremendous respect for cauliflower. When I go in the store and I see a head of cauliflower, I think, no matter what, you know, your cost, like, you know, $3, whatever, $4, it's like, it's worth it. Cauliflower is slow growing and there's so many leaves with it. It takes a lot of space for a head of cauliflower. And there was one zucchini and it was a normal size zucchini, so I can give it away or sell it. And I'm still thinking about doing the farmer's market on Saturday. We'll see. In fact, after I do this, I have to look up what you have to do to get into the farmer's market. I believe you just have to show up with a table and pay. It used to be $10. It might be more. It might have been $10 on Wednesday and more on Saturday. I'm not sure. I'll look into it. And so anyway, so I came home with just a lot of vegetables. And you know, I had hoped to do a lot more than I did tonight. I cooked myself a nice dinner. Oh yeah, I went and exercised. I did my resistance training and my elliptical, which was really great. So I did a full complement of exercise. And then for dinner, I was hungry and I allowed myself to have 2 grillers. I cooked up some potatoes, some red potatoes, and, you know, mashed them all up. No oil, just, you know, spices and little oat milk. And then I cooked some broccoli, fresh broccoli, and some fresh cherry tomatoes. And then I put it in the air fryer. You know, first I steamed them, and then I put them all in the air fryer. And it was a very good dinner. You know, no fat. Just, it seemed like a little too much food, but you know, I exercised hard today and I worked out in the garden and, you know, that's what I wanted and that's what I had. And let's see. So that was it for the day. It seems that right now my life is all about food, you know, but it's a good thing because the food that I'm growing, it doesn't need any embellishment. It's so fresh and so good that just to have it out of the garden, plain, steamed, like usually broccoli, I'll lick a little lemon on it. I used to love to have a little butter on it. But this broccoli, I can just have it with maybe a little garlic salt, little onion salt, and maybe not even that, you know, and it's nice. It's just something a little different about it. So, and then I had some apples in the refrigerator, and I wanted to cook the apples because I don't want anything to go bad. And I made applesauce because when I make my oatmeal, it's nice to take some applesauce and put it with the oatmeal. I'll probably have oatmeal tomorrow. And then I peeled an orange because my idea is I have a frozen banana in the freezer, and I have a Yonana machine which makes like soft serve banana ice cream. And what I plan on doing at some point in the future is to put a frozen banana in the Yonana and some frozen orange and make like an orangesicle. See how that works. I think that might work out really good. But anyway, so that's it for the day. Yeah, I was doing other work and this and that and the other thing, but you know, I'm just pulling this food processing thing along, and there's a lot to it, and the processes take a while. And but you know, I'm really happy to do it, and I even looked for getting another freezer, you know, like used on Facebook Marketplace, see if I could pick up a little mini freezer, because you know, I'm going to have a lot of frozen food, but then again, I really have to clean my freezer and make sure I'm using maximum use of my freezer. Right now, it's just kind of all junked up. Cleaned the refrigerator last night, but I didn't get to the freezer. So I need to clean and organize the freezer. And Gary has a stand-up freezer and an icebox freezer. So we really should have enough freezer, but we'll see. Anyway, so it was a good day on the food front on the Starch Solution in August of 2022, day 8.